Welcome everyone. I am Sherry Reichert-Belul and my company is Simply Celebrate, and I help people celebrate themselves and the people they love in creative ways. And tonight is one of those celebrations for Alex. And this call tonight is co-hosted. Let me get my handy sheet if you don't mind. We have Teresa Reed. Teresa, do you want to wave? Say hello, where are you?
Hello.
Teresa is the tarot lady, professional tarot reader and author of the tarot coloring book. Yay, Teresa.
Hi, guys.
And then we have Susan Harrow. Susan, where are you?
I'm waving.
Give us a wave. Susan is a media coach who helps you double your business with media appearances using sound bites without selling your soul. Susan. And Ellen, where's Ellen? Fondler. Ellen is an award-winning entrepreneur, career and business coach, and the creator of an interview project called How Did You Do That? Ellen. So I really want to thank all of you for co-hosting the meeting. And I'll do, Alex, can I go ahead and introduce you?
Sure. Yeah. Hi, I'm Alex. Hello, everyone.
So Alex is the author of this book, of course. Why we're all here. So Alexandra Franzen is the author of So This Is the End, a love story. And other projects include You're Going to Survive, 50 Ways to Say You're Awesome, a best-selling question of the day journal for couples called Our Q&A a Day, and a romance novel called Milk and Honey. She's written articles for Time, Forbes, Newsweek, The Huffington Post, and Lifehacker. And she's been mentioned in places like the New York Times, Small Business Blog, The Atlantic, USA Today, and many, many, many more.
Wow.
Alex writes a newsletter. Hopefully most of you are already subscribers. If not, after this call, be sure to do that. She publishes this newsletter to share inspiring true stories, writing and creativity tips, positivity, encouragement, and motivation. She also works as a copywriter and writing coach, helping clients to develop podcasts, videos, websites, pitches, proposals, books, and other projects. And those of us who are hosting the call have been personally very, very much helped by you, Alex. And so thank you. We really wanted to celebrate you tonight as part of our appreciation for everything you've done for all of us.
Wow. I already feel like I'm living inside of a dream right now. This is such a beautiful experience to just see all of your faces. Some of you I've known for 7, 8, 9 years. This is just so special. Thank you so much for putting together this virtual party for me.
Yay!
I would just like to share, my friend Kate brought over some balloons earlier. I got back to my house and she had secretly put them in.
Oh my God.
How crazy is that? So I feel so celebrated in so many ways.
They're beautiful. And before we have you read from your book, I just wanted to do just a quick housekeeping for people on the call. So everybody is muted right now, but you guys can unmute yourselves by pressing the little mic. If you hover over your picture, there's a little microphone and you can unmute yourselves. And, or if you want to ask us a question, there's several different ways. If you're logged into a computer, there's a toolbar at the bottom of the screen. If you hover the mouse there, you'll see something that says participants. If you click on that, it will give you an option to raise your hand. And then a little hand will go up in the chat box and we'll be able to know.
And it looks like Denise just raised her hand to ask a question.
Denise, do you have a...
Denise?
Thanks, Susan.
Yes.
Denise, did you have a question?
Maybe she was just practicing. Okay, Denise, you can also lower your hand. And there's a little, thank you for demonstrating, Alex.
So if anybody, and if, Denise, if you did want to say something, just unmute yourself and just jump right in. If not, I'm going to go ahead and tell people, if you are calling in via the telephone, *9 will raise your hand and lower your hand, and *6 will unmute you. So for those of you who are just calling in from the phone, and if you're logged into the app via your phone, touch the screen, and when the controls show up, hello? Is that you, Denise? No? Those of you who are logged into the app, you'll see a row of icons, and one of them is 3 dots. Click that, and you'll get the prompt. So if anybody has any questions, just go ahead and post in the chat.
Cool.
I need my.
Hands talking, but maybe
Otherwise, if you're not asking a question, if you could mute yourself, that would be great. Because that way. Oh, thanks for showing, Teresa. Yeah, so if anybody who's not talking, if you could just mute yourself, so that would be perfect. I think everybody is muted, Sherry. Yeah.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, great. So Alex, you have something to read to us from your book.
Yeah, so I'm going to read us a little excerpt from the book. So again, the book is called So This Is the End, A Love Story. It's fiction, not a true story. And just very briefly, the story is set in the very, very near future. So in my mind, it's maybe 15, 20 years from now. And in this slightly futuristic world, doctors have figured out a way where if you die, they can resuscitate your body and bring you back to life. However, there's a catch because they can bring you back, but it's kind of like charging a battery. It only lasts for 24 hours. So you can die, be brought back to life, and then you get 24 hours, just one extra day to be alive and to have one more day to do whatever it is that you want to do on that final day before you die again permanently. So that's the setting of this book. And then the book is a 24-hour, 24-chapter story where we're following one woman named Nora, and each chapter is 1 hour of the final day of her life. So that kind of sets up the scene that I'll read now. So in this scene, Nora, our main character, is desperately trying to figure out, what should I do with this last day? She wants to make every moment count. She doesn't want to waste a minute. And yet she's kind of overwhelmed and she needs some help. So she tracks down a woman named Tasha, who is basically a life coach for people who only have one day to live. And so she goes to Tasha's office in the hopes of getting some advice or maybe a plan. And Tasha is kind of doing a little bit of an intake interview with Nora to figure out, how can we design the ideal last day for you? So Tasha asks Nora, she's trying to get to know her, can you remember the last time that someone gave you a compliment that meant a lot to you? What did they say? She asks. No one's ever asked me that before. I rolled back through a couple of recent memories, but nothing seems to leap out. But then, yeah, maybe that. So this was a long time ago. Back when I was working in the coffee shop, I began. Tasha's pen starts moving again. I used to draw these little cartoons on the customers' coffee cups. Nothing that amazing or anything, just little doodles like people's faces, their kids, the dogs they would bring by, or little details that I'd learned about their lives. And sometimes I'd write a little message on the coffee cup, like inspiring quotes or whatever. I just did it because it was fun and I knew it made people happy, something to pass the time when we were having a slow shift. So this one day, a regular came by and I handed over her usual coffee with a cute little doodle of her dog, Sandy, on the cup and this Sharpie marker. And before she left the shop, she told me something that kind of surprised me. Tasha leans forward, her eyebrows sky high with a look that practically screams, "What did she say?" So this woman told me that she had kept almost every coffee cup I'd ever given her. Dozens of cups with my drawings on all of them. She told me she used a hole puncher and she put some yarn through all the empty cups like a string of paper lanterns, and she put them up inside her cubicle at work. And she told me those drawings, they always made her smile. She wanted to tell me how much she appreciated my doodles and how I always brightened her day. I literally couldn't believe it. I mean, I'm not even that good at drawing. Tasha's listening and her pen comes to a halt. She listens intently to my story as if it's the most fascinating thing she's heard in her entire life. My words trail off awkwardly. I glance up to meet her gaze. "Nora," she says, "I have a suspicion about you." "What?" She smiles knowingly. "You are a daymaker." "A what?" "A daymaker," she repeats. Haven't you heard that term before? It's from this guy named David Wagner. He came up with it. He's an entrepreneur here in Minneapolis. He's one of my personal heroes, actually. It means that when someone comes into your life, you make their day. You don't even have to try that hard. You can't help it. It's just who you are. You're thoughtful, you're caring, you're creative. You want people to be happy. She continues, I'll bet, Nora, that with every single job you've had, you were the brightest spark in everyone's day. I bet every single manager hated to see you go and begged you to stay. I bet customers arranged their schedules so that they would make sure to swing by during your shift. I bet that woman wasn't the only customer who loved every coffee cup doodle that you did. I bet you touched a lot of people's lives, maybe more than you realize. A day maker, I repeat back. I like the sound of that. And weirdly enough, I think she's right. My work history might be scattered and eclectic compared to some people's, I guess, but I've always made it my mission to leave other people in better condition than I found them. I do know how to make people feel special and appreciated. I can always make my coworkers crack a smile, even the jaded ones who are just trudging along towards retirement. It's true. I love making people's days better. I always have. Damn. Maybe my life wasn't just a scattered waste, a trail of career indecision. Maybe I did make a difference in a few people's lives. Jesus, Tasha, I say, feeling all the loose, raggedy ends of my story knitting neatly together. You just changed my whole opinion of myself. What you just said, it just means a lot to me. Thank you so much. Shall we toast to that? She giggles, already rising to fix us another round of cocktails. Yes, let's. We clink our glasses again, sipping our champagne drinks a bit more slowly this time, savoring each sparkle and bubble. Next question, she continues. What is something you always wanted to do while you were alive that you never got around to? Something you were always saving for someday in the future. What, you mean like skydiving? Is skydiving something you've always wanted to do? The tone in her voice is saying, because we can make that happen. I know people with parachutes. Not particularly, I reply. So what then? Any guilty pleasures, any secret dreams? I take another sip of my drink, feeling incredibly boring because of what I'm about to confess. Okay, this is probably totally lame, but Tasha's eyes are gleaming at me. She's unconsciously pressing herself over the desk, inching closer to me. I can tell she lives for this. I continue. Well, I've always been curious about online dating. Curious? Like you mean curious to try it? Yeah, I say. I mean, I know that tons of people are doing it, and it's not that special or unusual these days, but for whatever reason, I just never gave it a shot. I mean, I always thought about it, but I never did it. Just nervous, I guess. What is it about online dating that appeals to you? She asks. My mind drifts back to my childhood home. It's a 2-bedroom apartment near Elliott Park, hardwood floors that really needed a good polishing, but never got one. Glass-paned windows with copper locks that frosted over during the wintertime, fogged up with heat during the summer. Mom and dad slow dancing to Puccini, laughing, whispering, kissing, while pasta simmers on the stove. I'm hiding under the table, a little too young to understand what makes this scene so compelling, but I'm awestruck nonetheless. I can't take my eyes away from my parents. It's true love. I know it. My mind sifts through fragmented stories, floating back to the legendary story of how my parents first met. It was a party thrown by a mutual acquaintance. Neither of them had planned to attend, except they did. A last-minute choice, a chance meeting. The chemistry was instant. They never parted. And the rest was history. I had never experienced a love like they shared. It's something I always yearned for. Beneath my slight tendency towards sarcasm and the fierce independence that I inherited from my mom, the truth is, I'm a total softy marshmallow mush pile and a hopeless romantic. It's just that I never got the chance to experience deep, crazy, Nicholas Sparks level love. I searched, I tried, but while I was alive, I just never found it. Nothing even close. So online dating, Tasha pipes up again, waiting for my response. So why is it something you want to try? I blurt out my response. Because I think my soulmate is out there somewhere. And maybe he wants to meet me. Badly. Just as badly as I want to meet him. Nora, are you aware that you literally started glowing just now? Your face, your skin, everything. You're radiant. This needs to happen. We're making this happen. And then, what happens next? You'll have to read the book and find out. The end.
Oh my God, what a cliffhanger. I love it.
Thanks for listening.
Oh, that was so wonderful. And I just loved watching you tell it because I felt like I was all of those characters. I was those two
I
characters.
know.
Yeah.
That was the best. That was
You're your own audiobook.
It was fun. I would love, love, love at some point. I don't think I would want to read it, but I would so love an audiobook version of this book. So I hope that happens someday.
Oh.
How come you wouldn't want to read it? 'Cause
I
you
think
did
I have
so
a,
good.
oh, thanks. I think I have an okay reading voice, but there's so many voice actors who I think have that like mellifluous, beautiful voice that you just want to listen to for hours and hours and hours. So I think a professional would be the way to go, personally.
I love your voice.
Yeah.
That was one of the things that struck me is how great a reader you were.
Yeah.
Right.
And also a great dramatist. Because I really felt like I was really with both of those characters, you know, like one and then the other, even though you didn't really change your voice, I don't know, your expression or whatever. I would love you to see you read them.
Ooh, maybe we'll do a dramatic play at some
Yeah, you know, or at least an excerpt, you know.
Yes. Well, I have to say the character of Tasha in the book, who's sort of like the life coach who helps you plan and your final day, she was partly inspired by my dear friend, Melissa Casera, who is literally sitting in the room right now. She is over there. She's visiting me here in Hawaii, and she is working on a screenplay, busily like a little beaver, typing away. But I always envisioned that character, like Melissa, as someone who just is relentlessly upbeat and optimistic and positive and always sees the opportunity in everything. And even if you only have 6 hours to live before you perish, she will find a way to make it awesome. And so I'm just so touched that Melissa is here as well. It makes it extra special.
Alex, do make sure you glance down at the chat because there's a lot of beautiful comments.
Oh, okay. So if I click chat, what's going to happen? Oh my gosh, I can see people.
You'll see everybody's page. Yeah, it's really great.
Oh my God. I feel like I'm in a dream right now. Is this like a wonderful drug-induced hallucination where people just say nice things for an hour?
Alex, are you up for a tiny bit of Q&A about whether people want to ask you about the book or you as a writer? We'll open it up right now. If anybody wants to ask any questions to Alex, we'd love that.
Ooh.
Jerry, do you want them to ask it in the chat or to just speak?
They could just, you can either just unmute yourself, or if you want to do that official hand raising thing, hover down at the bottom.
Type it into the chat, maybe? That could work too.
You can do that too.
Yeah.
I think it all depends if people just want to, whatever you want to do.
Well, I like what Sandy Kay said. There's something special when an author reads their own audiobook. It's more personal. We hear it the way you meant it to be read. I think you can do it.
Oh, thanks, Sandy. Well, we'll see. I actually found a great audio studio here in Hawaii where I live now because I just moved here. And maybe Bub, my audio guy, would be down to do a book. I'll talk to Bub.
Bub's life is about to change.
Bub's life has already changed since I came into the picture. He's having quite a hoot recording some of my new audio projects, which are a secret right now.
Ooh.
Mm.
Hey, Ellen has a question. Ellen, you can just ask it if you want.
So how did you get the idea for this book, Alex? Like, did it just like hit you one day, like you were driving along or taking a walk and you just thought, oh my God, what would happen if I only had 24 hours to live? I mean, how did you get the idea? And then the layering of it, like somebody died and then came back to life. Was it just like a J.K. Rowling like download, or was it something that came over a long period of time?
Yeah, that's a great question. So this book to me feels unlike any other creative project I've ever worked on. And what happened was the initial idea for the story came to me in a dream. I was sleeping. And I'm not one of those people who usually remembers my dreams. Like I usually wake up and I don't remember anything. So this particular night was different. And I remember you know that feeling like when you bolt awake, like out of a nightmare? So I like bolted awake. I remember I was drenched with sweat. My heart was racing. I felt all agitated. And then kind of piecemeal the dream, I could remember it. I could remember it so vividly. And in this dream, I had died, but somehow doctors had been able to bring me back. And in the dream, the doctors basically said to me, all right, lucky you're back, but you have one day. That's as long as we could give you. And the rest of the dream, I just remember was like this strange combination of feeling, on the one hand, so incredibly grateful for the gift of a little more time. And I remember I wanted to see my mom and dad, my sister and brother. I wanted to go to the beach. I wanted to walk barefoot on the grass. There was like a whole bunch of things that I wanted to do, mainly just spend time with the people that I love. But coupled with that gratitude was this just like I could feel it like a weight on my chest, this feeling of this is it. This is the end. There is no tomorrow. And there was this very bittersweet feeling of, I might cry because like I can still remember the dream so vividly, but it was like just wishing I could have a little more time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even just another week, I that fear of it's all coming to an end. It's too fast. And I just want to hold on to this life a little longer. It's like, I don't know why, but Melissa's coming over for a hug. Thanks, Mom.
Oh, hi, Melissa.
Thank you.
Hi, Melissa.
Oh, thank you, Melissa. You can see, like, even 2 years after this dream, it's like, there was something about this dream that was so emotional and so intense. And so I woke up, I think I cried a little bit, like in bed, and the dream wouldn't leave me alone. I kept thinking about it. And I knew almost immediately, I want to write about this in some way or another. And at first I was like, maybe I'll write an article about it. Maybe I'll write a blog post. Maybe it's a book. I don't know. But I just knew like I wanted to somehow express what I felt in that dream. So one day, not too long after, maybe a week or two later, I took my laptop and I went to the local coffee shop and I kind of cleared the afternoon so I didn't have any phone calls or client sessions or anything going on. And I just, without really making a plan, like I just kind of started typing. And the very first thing that I typed was hour 1. And right away something clicked in my brain and I was like, oh, maybe it's fiction, maybe it's a novel and it's 24 hours, 24 chapters, and each chapter is 1 hour in this person's life or last day of their life. And I just kind of dove in and I didn't really have a plan. I didn't do a big like character analysis of what's her motivation, what's her this, what's her that. Like I kind of wrote, the main character is somewhat based on myself, although she's not exactly like me. And I just kept writing. And what was interesting is that like the first 18 hours of the book, 18 chapters, just really flowed out. And then I got stuck at the end. I got stuck around like hour 19 or 20. because I didn't know how it was going to end, and I couldn't figure it out, and I didn't want her to die. And so I kind of got blocked for a while, and I remember setting the whole manuscript aside for maybe like 6 months, and I didn't even look at it. And I just kind of went on with my life and ruminated and thought about it. And then, yeah, like I'd say about 6 months after I started, I dove back in. And by then I had figured out the ending. And there's sort of an ending, and then there's like an epilogue, which is kind of like the real ending. But it was interesting because I was a little bummed out that I couldn't figure out how it was going to end. And I was worried that I would never figure it out. But eventually an idea came to me. So anyway, that's the origin of the book. That's where the idea came from.
I think that's really helpful for writers, Alex, because I think that sometimes everybody has so many different methods, and some people think that they have to have it all figured out. It doesn't always work that way. And the fact that you put it aside and had to think about it, I think that some people get really impatient, especially when I think you said 6 months that you thought about it. It's like, that can seem like so much time.
Yeah.
But that kind of rumination, like I know my sweetie, Will, who you know too, he's a ruminator too. So he needs time to really ruminate too. And I think that that's such an important part of writing that sometimes we sometimes push aside in wanting to get it done, right? So to give yourself that kind of latitude, I think that's a really great point. I see that Mikey Ellis says, I love how you distill big themes, big questions, deep experiences into something we can all relate to. Is this something you do consciously? And then after that, he also asks, do you have a practice or routine to help you focus and connect to guidance and intuition?
Ooh, that's a really good question. So I will say this, with projects that I work on, whether it's a podcast that I'm helping a client to produce, or a book that I'm writing, or an article, or whatever, for every project, every art project, I do try to make sure that there's like one central question or one central message, and just one. So for example, with this book, So This Is the End, the central question of the book is, if you had just 24 hours to live, what would you do with your time? And it's almost like, even if you don't even read the whole book, I want readers to come away ruminating on that one question. So if you are an artist or a writer or a creative of any kind, it's kind of a cool thing to do. Take a piece of paper, write the title of your project, whatever it is. Maybe write yourself a little 1 to 2 description of what it is, and then see if you can write down like the big question, the main question. Pick one question that you want this piece of art to kind of revolve around. And if you decide up front what that question is going to be, then you can sort of use that. It's like now you have a target, and you can point your arrow and you can aim at it, and you can keep the art project centered around that question. Does that make sense? I think where people run into trouble maybe is they try to cram like 12 big questions or like 15 huge messages into a single piece of art. And I think it's so much more powerful personally when there's like one that's sort of echoing in the reader's ears and mind and heart long after they set it down. So just try to choose one would be my best advice. Do you guys have any thoughts on that? Susan, Sherry?
I do, Alex. I love what you just said. And what I experienced that with this book, right? I didn't read the book until I got it in my hands when did it come out? Monday, I think, whenever I got it. But before that, I'd heard that this novel asks the question, and that's what already and that's what I put out to the people in my community, like, because I found just that question is everything, right? Like I was already just like, whoa, we've already gotten so much from the book. So I love that.
Cool. I'm glad that.
And I think you do that in so many ways, like in your newsletters and in your for your clients, you really help simplify things. Your whole philosophy is about keeping things simple. And I find that so helpful because I'm a person that has so much going on in my brain, and I tend to over deliver, and then trying to like just pare it down to the simplest essence is always such a great thing to do.
Yeah, that's there's so many different styles of art and writing, and I'm not
Sure.
saying this is the right way, but that's, if you're asking about like my writing process in particular, that's what I do. I try to pick one main message or one main question per project and try to keep it really focused. And that just works for me. That's how my brain works.
Mhm.
And I can say too, Alex, like having been lucky enough to also be your client, just like Ellen said, like that is so helpful because I feel like you bring that through line where sometimes I may have gotten distracted or lost or I'm over here. I feel like you're so great at just bringing it right back.
Yeah.
This is what we're doing, you know?
Yeah. And all of you guys do that so beautifully. Like Susan, your business where you teach people and help them get prepared for media opportunities, your like big message is you can sell yourself without selling your soul. And that's like a solid message. It's clear and specific, and it goes through everything that you offer. You're known for that. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a question, but like either a question or a message, but pick one and really commit to it. Put your foot down like you're making a decision. Yeah,
Yeah.
it helps a lot.
Thank you, Alex. And I love, Alex, you're such a genius at turning the spotlight on other people, which you just did. So we're going to turn the spotlight back to you. I don't know if Anna Flipovic has a question. I see your hand up.
Ooh, I see.
I'm going to unmute you. There we go. Anna, do you want to, Anna?
Yes. Hi,
Do you want
everyone.
to ask a question?
Hi. Oh, hi, Anna. We can see your face. Oh my gosh. Hi.
This is so surreal to me. I was sitting here with my husband. I said, oh, I just got a notification. Alexandra is having her a launch party, virtual launch party, but I was afraid to click on it because I didn't think it was real. I said, how do you meet your author? One of my favorite people. I have two newsletters that I absolutely love to read. One is James Clear. Not sure if you heard about him. He
I know
writes.
James Clear. Yeah. He's awesome.
One is you. Like the two of you have been my best discoveries. So thank you for all the work that you're doing. It's absolutely amazing. I love the way you're running your business and how you're stepped away from social media, made it work for yourself. And also congratulations on writing and publishing a book. I mean, how many people have an idea to write a book and it never happens? So this is, I think, a huge accomplishment. And I wanted to speak because how many times do you get to speak to one of your favorite authors? So thank you for allowing me to do this. My question for you is, you asked us to write down if we had 24 hours to live, what would we do? So I'm asking you the same question. What is the thing, at least one thing that you would do for sure if you had only 24 hours to live?
Oh, so obviously, first of all, I'm having that thing again where I feel like I'm on some kind of hallucinatory substance and I can't believe any of this is happening. It's so crazy. So thank you for all the kind words that you said. That means so much to me. If I had 24 hours to live, much like the character in my book, I think at first I would feel completely overwhelmed, like, oh my gosh, what do I do? But I think I would just bring it back to the basics. I would want to see my mom and dad and sister and brother, and I would want to spend time with them. And I would want to go to the beach for sure. I would want to completely submerge myself in the ocean and just like be a mermaid for a minute. I'd want to see my friends. I'd probably eat a cheeseburger with like bacon and like garlic aioli and everything. Melissa's like cackling in the background. And I think I would want to spend most of the day in nature in some way or another, whether it's just lying on the grass or being at the beach or taking a hike, but just kind of trying to connect with bless you, Ellen. Trying to connect with nature, trying to connect with what God feels like to me. And I think that's what I do. I definitely wouldn't be on Facebook. No offense on Facebook. I would just try to, just be with the people I love. That's it. That's it. Yeah.
That was awesome. You know, when I was thinking about this and I had all these great ideas, all the countries I haven't visited yet, all the things I haven't seen. And then when I thought about it, I said, well, so all of my family is in Europe. So I said, well, I can't get to them in 24 hours, but there's ways to talk to them. So I said I would talk to all of them. And then what I would want to do is order pizza and watch Office with my husband. That's what I would.
That sounds fun.
So yeah, so thank you once again for everything.
Oh,
Let others ask questions now, and I'll mute myself. Thank you.
oh, that's a great question. Thank you so much.
And Alex, this might be the perfect moment for us to do a little segue.
Yeah,
Thank
perfect.
you, Anna, for starting that off. I'm curious if everybody has a piece of paper and a pen, or if you could grab one, or it could be your computer.
I have a clipboard.
And let's just all spend maybe just 5 minutes just thinking about that question. If you had 24 hours left, what would you do? Alex, do you want to give any other pieces to the prompt?
That's it. Yeah, if you knew you had 24 hours, what would you do? What would be most important to you? What would your priorities be? What would feel meaningful to you?
And I'll keep an eye on the clock so people can just totally immerse yourselves in the question, and I'll kind of let us know when to come back.
I'm gonna get a pen and I'm gonna do this too, actually.
Oh, good. And for those of you who may be driving, you can just
Yeah, don't do it if you're driving.
don't while you're driving. I just thought of that. You could turn on the voice recorder on your phone, or you could just list it in your head. Just about one more minute. Okay, maybe people can wrap up whatever your current thought is.
That was nice. Thanks, Sherry.
Oh, Alex, thank you. I can't believe that was just 5 minutes and that was so beautiful.
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
tried some new things I didn't think of before. It was good to write it down.
Do you want to share those things or keep them private?
Well, I want to hear from you guys. Sherry, what's your final day?
Okay, I'll quickly do my favorites. Was bookending it. I love to see the sunrise. I love to see the sunset with my family, and so gosh, just talking about it is crazy how emotional it is. Bookending the day that way, you know, that to watch the sunset. I also would I would make maybe an hour or 2 hour long video or audio recording of everything I'm grateful for, because that would allow me to sort of just relive these like highlights of my life. And I would love to do something like this that I just put out to all my friends and just people in my Simply Celebrate community, and just invite people to come to something like this where we just share poems or music, or people just talk about what they love. Something like that would be great. So those were a few of my favorites.
I love that. Teresa, what would you do?
Well, first of all, I have to say I would not do anything meaningful. Because what I want to do is I'd want to do something decadent and outrageous and really funny. So that way, after I'm gone, my loved ones are going to have a lot of crazy stories.
Yeah.
So, the first thing I do is I go through the house, and this is actually my little meaningful part. I would leave little notes all scattered throughout the house. In fact, I have a fantasy about getting all kinds of pillboxes and putting little notes in them for the kids to find. So I would do that. Some of them would be love notes. Some of them would be things like, "You're a nosy little fucker." Then what I would do is I would also make a very big meal. And the meal that I would make, because I'm also interested in Last Suppers, would be a salad with carrot shreds, toasted pine nuts, avocado, Parmesan shavings, and a nice light vinaigrette. Then I'd make bucatini with wild mushrooms, mint, and chilies, and Morita chili oil, and a poached egg.
Damn.
You eat well when you eat here. And then I would make a tiramisu. And I have a secret trick for my tiramisu that nobody ever gets to know. But my tiramisu is better than Italy because people have told me. So I would invite the people I love the most, which would be my husband and my 2 children, and any significant others in their lives. And we would dine Caligula style. Then I would get hella drunk, and I would drunk dial all the people I love and let them know how much they meant to me. And after that, the next few things, I'm going to be real quick, is I would go and do the one taboo or shocking thing that I've never done and always wanted to do. Again, you got to leave these kids with stories. And then I would probably, after getting that crazy thing done, I'd make love to my husband and then snuggle with the cats. That'd be it. That'd be a crazy day, though.
Whoa, I want to have dinner at your house.
I know, me too.
This is the place to eat, ladies. It is the place to eat.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good last day. I love the idea of hiding secret notes for people to find like
Yes.
afterward, and they'll be like, "She got me."
Exactly. And you write the nice ones, but you write a couple really snarky ones, just so that when they open it, they're not sad. They're going to laugh.
Yeah.
And I always want people to laugh at my funeral. I don't want anybody crying. So for me, going out humorous and big and obnoxious and shocking
Yeah.
is my favorite way. I want to have all the good stories when I'm gone.
I love that. That's so good.
No sad stories.
Susan, what about you? What's your last day?
I just want to share a couple because I'd love to get to the people.
Yeah.
The people. So I just, and what struck me about your book, and by the way, I know we haven't mentioned this once, but that we did put in a link here so anyone who hasn't read the book can get it. I'm going to pop it in right now. So buy the book and have it. It's really beautiful, as and hear about Honora's last day. But one thing that I really noticed about everything, and in particular about your book, is that it wasn't like travel the world and, sit on a mountaintop in India or whatever and, vibe out or whatever. I mean, it's all of these things that are possible and that are in our daily lives, these very tactile, delicious, things that are really the most meaningful, right? We always think that it's the hot air balloon ride, but I think the hot air balloon people are, it's right here in front of us.
The hot air balloon people.
people. That's what we really want, is like, right? And so I'm going to just say my one, is very similar to Teresa's, except for that I don't cook. And I would like other people to cook for me. But my one thing was to hang out with all my friends and family and over food and drink. And that would be everybody bringing their delicious thing. I would certainly invite you now, Teresa, to bring your tiramisu. So, just that would be, so I just want to share that one. And then I would love to hear from other people.
Yeah. Can you hear from people who are watching and listening? What's your final day? You could type it into the comments or share.
Or you can say it. Yeah. Either way, you can just unmute yourself and say it. We don't even have to raise our hand. If you just want to pipe in, and then if two people pipe in at the same time, we'll just take turns.
I'll pipe in.
Hi.
Alex.
Oh my gosh, it's so wonderful to see your face.
It's so nice to see you. Number one is run into the ocean.
Run into the ocean. Yeah, we'll do it together.
Yeah, I wrote that the other day before you said that out loud. I want to be. And then number two is eat gelato. In brackets, much. And then there's some items like make love, dance, love myself without cause or exception. Laugh a lot. Say I love you to as many people as possible, even strangers, even enemies. Be in nature, be with nature. Hold hands with my husband. Pray for growth and expansion after it's all over. Play and laugh some more and dance some more. Forgive myself, forgive everyone, and smile.
That's so beautiful. I'm gonna cry again. Thank you for sharing. That's amazing. That's a great
Such
day.
a wonderful question and prompt. Thank you so much for it.
Thanks for doing it.
Yeah.
It's awesome. So awesome. And yeah, I mean, I think it goes without saying, but my hope for myself is that I'll keep thinking about this question, and that hopefully I can make my regular everyday life look a little more like that ideal last day. And that's the tension of life, right? Because we do have bills to pay, and we have emails that need to be answered, and there are, logistical, administrative, financial things that need to happen just to be an adult human being in the world. But at the same time, I think we all need to remember, when it really comes down to the wire, what matters, and try to aim for that, right? Try to get as close to that as we possibly can. That's my goal for myself. And I love the day that you described. Thank you so much for sharing. It's beautiful. Yay. Does anyone else want to share their last day? Or Sherry, do we need to clip along to the next?
Well, I think we have time if a couple of people. Yeah, I'd love to hear.
Oh, here's someone with a star in their room. Hello.
Oh yeah.
Is that me?
Denise.
But I think maybe
I'm at my sister's house and I'm on my tablet. So maybe you're, oh yeah, okay, so you're seeing my star.
Yeah, maybe flip
I don't know how to do, so I'm house sitting, pet sitting for my sister. I've never done this before. First of all, I want to say I actually found you, Alexandra, and I did your tiny challenge. I don't know if you remember. Yeah, you printed my story in your last newsletter. But I found you through Teresa. And I'm actually from Milwaukee, and somebody told me about her, and then she had a link of who her writing coach was, and that's how I found you back in 2015.
Whoa.
And Teresa, I had a reading with you once back in 2015. So anyway, and that's how I found you, and I've been following you ever since. And but I was just at storage the other day, and found a whole bunch of old journals that I was missing. All these journals and I've been recording my dreams for years. So, and I've been missing so much anyway, but I was opening one of my journals and I was reading like kind of a will that I had written about like if something happened to me, I was writing about who was going to get what and who I wanted. And it was just so weird to get your email and you talking about your last 24 days because I was just experiencing this. And I also didn't realize that, and I was really thinking about my brother a lot, and I didn't put it together that he had died on that day in 2014, just when I was looking through all these papers. But I wanted to say, I put relax because I'm always constantly thinking of things I have to do. But I'd also clean my house because as an artist, I used to go on the road a lot. And the one thing, no matter how late it was, I always made sure my house was clean because I thought if something happened to me on the road, I don't want people to come into my house and think that I lived this way, if I had a mess going on. And then I wanted to be brave. I wanted to be brave enough to make a call, that I wanted to make or reach out to people. But I also would love to, if I hadn't before, give away all of my things to people that, have everybody come over. I would we used to have, when I was a kid, a come as you are party. And you just came over, you were in your pajamas or whatever. That's how you came over. It was just the neighborhood. And so I would just ask everybody to just come over and then have them take whatever they wanted of mine that meant something to them. Mm-hmm. And that way I knew it, and just have a party because but I also wrote, my first thing was to write, if I didn't finish my book, that I would finish my book. So that's, I think that's the one thing that I'd want to accomplish more than anything.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing. I like the star in your room.
Oh, yeah. I'll tell my sister.
Yeah.
I don't know how to switch it. I'm afraid I'll lose the whole thing if I
that's okay.
press
Yeah,
the button.
you're good.
Okay.
I love the idea of having a come as you are party and giving away all your stuff because you get to declutter your home, you get to be generous, you get to give to people, but also it's kind of a good excuse to see people and say goodbye and give hugs, and that's a great idea. I love that.
Thank you.
End of life garage sale.
And then your friends and relatives don't have to clean up your apartment after.
Yeah.
I like that. And then I think A. Ellinger had her hand up. Do you want to share, A?
Hi, it's Anne.
Hi, Anne.
And hi, Sherry. I had a very similar to you all. And hi, Alex. And I love that word daymaker. Thank you. That's me. And I went, a word for me. So thank you very much. What I did, and I've already put it on Instagram, but I put my 24 hours on the picture of where my last 24 hours was going to be, which was the ocean. So that's going on my wall in my office so that I'll constantly have a reminder of what I want my last 24 hours and seeing the beach. And so everything's the one central focus that you talk about, the one central question. So thank you. Thank you very much.
I love the idea of writing your last 24 hours big and making it like an art piece that you're going to see every single day, because that's so brilliant. I want to do that, because then it will remind you. Yeah. So focused every day on the things that are the most precious and meaningful and bring you the most joy and pleasure and laughter. That's so brilliant. I love that.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm excited to read this.
I'm so excited for your poster. And I want to say that word day maker, I love that too. And it comes from a real guy named David Wagner. He lives in Minneapolis, which is where I used to live many, many years ago. And he wrote a book called Life as a Day Maker, where he talks about this philosophy that, you know, you don't have to be Oprah, you don't have to be super famous, super wealthy billionaire, as long as you are making an effort to make other people's days a little better in some way, shape, or form, then you're a day maker. And that is what it means to like lead a great life. And I always love the simplicity of that message. So I kind of sprinkled him into the book. Even though the book is fiction, he gets a little cameo. Yeah, in the book. Yeah. I love that word too.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes.
I know we're a little bit over time, but I just wanted to read, Becky had posted, I just wanted to read, her microphone's not working. So if you guys are okay with just a few extra minutes.
Yeah, and then actually, don't let me forget, because I'm doing a contest that I want to mention.
I was going to ask you
related to this, so we'll save that for a second.
Awesome. So Becky says, I'd have music playing all day, and I'd allow my soul to play DJ for perfect accompaniment music. I'm obsessed with doing things that send my love into the future. I'd split the day into thirds. A third time being, thinking, feeling, loving. The 2/3 time creating for my friends and family. And the last third would be generating kindness for others to discover and perhaps be blessed in the future. Isn't that beautiful? I love that. She says, love and blessings to all and wishes for your joy.
And Catherine said that she would make a decadent picnic with like so much food, she says. And she'd bring her sweetheart and her family and friends, and they would eat and wander and pick flowers and nap. That sounds great. I like that day. Yay.
I wish we would have set aside 24 hours for this call. We could have just kept on going.
It's a great question to ask around the dinner table with your family. Have everyone answer it. I'm kind of obsessed with this question right now, as you can see.
Do you want to tell us about your contest?
Yes. So I'm doing a contest. It started yesterday, 2 days ago. So there's about 5 more days left if you want to be involved. And it's really simple. All you do is you think about this question. If I had 24 hours to live, what would I want to do with my time? You write down what you would want to do. So y'all watching have already done that part. Swing. So you write down what you'd want to do. You can type it. You can write it by hand, whatever you want. And then you have to share what you've written somewhere, somehow. You can share it on Instagram, you can share it on Facebook, you can share it on Twitter, you can print it out and pin it to a tree in your neighborhood. I don't care where you share it. I don't use social media personally, but I know that a lot of people do and really love it. So you just share your list somewhere, somehow, online, offline, anywhere you want to share it sometime this week. And to be eligible to win some really cool prizes, you have to include somewhere, wherever you're sharing it, just mention that this was inspired by a book called So This Is the End. And somewhere in your posting or sharing, put a little link to order the book on Amazon so that people can find the book and discover it. So again, you write down what you do in your last 24 hours, you share it somewhere publicly, wherever you want, you mention that it was inspired by the book, and you put a little link to Amazon. And if you need a refresher course, if you go to my website, alexandrafranzen.com, and then actually we can put the link right now. I'll drop it in. The instructions are on my website as well. So let me grab that real quick. And then you can have it. Here we go. Ooh, this is exciting. Okay, so here's the link. The contest is running for 1 week, and it started 2 days ago. So you've got about 5 days. I just put a link to the contest instructions. It's really simple. I've already had about 40 people do it, which is amazing. My dream is to get at least 100 people to do it this week. And I'm giving away some really cool prizes. I'm going to pick some people randomly to win free books, to win chocolate, candles, beautiful things from Hawaii. And then if at least 100 people do this contest at some point in this week, I'm also going to pick one person and they will win a trip to Hawaii to attend one of my writing retreats in Hawaii. And I'll cover all your expenses at the retreat, your meals, your massage, everything. And I'll even chip in for your airfare. So it's a pretty sweet prize.
Hey, Alex, Teresa is saying, and I just tried it too, the link isn't working. So
Link's not working. Oh,
yeah,
no.
it's not working. So it went to a 404.
Oh, no. Let me try that again.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Maybe
letting
while,
me
while
know.
Alex is posting that would be a good time just to say thank you to all of you.
Oh.
Special thank you to Susan and Teresa and Ellen for helping to host this call, and to all of you who took time to show up. I mean, I know it's like there's so many things that you could be doing, so many places you could be, and it was so beautiful to share this time with all of you. And
Totally.
for those of you who didn't know Alex before, hopefully now you have such a great sense of her beautiful spirit. And yeah, anybody want to say anything else as we're closing?
Just to give Alex a chance to post that so people can click
Yes.
through.
That's so weird. I don't know why that link wasn't working, but here's another link that's not a
Aw.
short link. And try this one, see if it works.
See.
Oh, wait, it says I need to go to post to everyone. For some reason, it only went to Denise. Okay.
It might be because of a private message.
Okay. Well, Denise, you got the link.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
A jump start on the contest.
Oh, here we go.
Sign Denise.
Everyone, to everyone. I know, Denise, get on it. Private.
Yeah.
All right, here's a longer link that I think will work for everyone. There we go.
Let's
Try
just
that.
really quick. See if it works.
I clicked it. It
worked.
It works.
Yay! Yeah. So seriously, guys, your odds of winning are really good. When I've done contests like this in the past, I typically announce it to my mailing list and I put it on my website. Usually, somewhere between 15 and 25,000 people will read it, but usually only about 50 to 100 people will actually do it. So your odds of winning a trip to Hawaii are like maybe 1 in 50 or 1 in 100 or 1 in 150. So like
One of the prizes is to win a trip to Hawaii?
yes, so don't
I'm
not
so
do-
doing this.
do this.
Are you kidding me?
I know this is for real. So I would say I think this is a beautiful, think of it as a little mini art project. Get your post up sometime this week. I can't wait to see it. I've been reading all of them and people are sending me like screenshots and things and it's so moving and so beautiful. So check out the contest link, enter the contest. No purchase required in order to be eligible to win a trip.
And I also want to say that people who read this amazing book should write reviews for Alex in Amazon.
Oh, that's a
The
great
more
idea.
reviews that are written, the more books get sold. And
Yes.
that's all good things.
Thanks for saying that, Ellen. Yeah, I will be totally honest. I don't really know how like detailed book marketing works. Susan should give a webinar on this. I know she has. But I have been told that if the book gets like at least 25 reviews within the first week or so that it comes out, something wonderful happens. Like it gets bumped up in the search algorithms, or it's easier for more readers to find it, or Trump gets impeached and we get Obama back. Like something great happens if I get 25 reviews, I've been told. So yeah, if anyone is willing to post a quick review on Amazon, you may think, oh, it doesn't matter. It actually really does matter and it really does help. So every little bit helps. Thank you so much for all of your support on all the different levels. It's amazing.
Thank you, Alex. And thank you for Sherry for organizing this, and Teresa and Ellen for showing up, and all of you for coming and listening to Alex. And all of us are so enthusiastic about hearing you read, obviously, and about the book itself, and about this fantastic question to ponder. You know, and I was really struck by people, you know, I know that everybody who said those things on their list have already been doing that. You know, but what, like what you said, Alex, is to bring it more into really integrating this, don't wait for those last 24 hours, but start to do all of those things that we really love doing, that are all those people that are meaningful to us, and just start like jumping into action now and doing it.
Yeah.
Doing it. It's not so hard, right? How hard is it to eat a cheeseburger?
I mean, I did that task a few nights ago, very successfully.
But seriously, I mean, everything that people said, it's all really, we can all do it, right? Yes. Thank you for your great reminder. Thank you, everybody.
Yay.
Thank you, Sherry. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Teresa. Thank you, Susan, for organizing this virtual launch party. I literally can't believe that you guys banded together really without me even knowing at first and set this beautiful video thing up, and all you basically said, all you have to do is show up. And I was like, is this my real life? Who are these heavenly angels? What's happening right now? There's balloons in my house. I don't understand. It's so amazing. So thank you so much. It's been such a joy.
This has been wonderful.
Thank you,
And
Alex.
we will have the recording, so if anybody wants to pass it on to someone that would be awesome. Maybe what I'll do is post in that Facebook event page. I'm not sure, we're all in different places, or just email Alex and we'll get it to her.
Yeah. I'll share the link in my newsletter for sure in case anyone missed this call.
Perfect. As will I. Okay, great. Thank you all so much. Thank you, Alex, for being
Thank
here.
you. Thanks, you guys. Love you. Bye.
Bye, everybody.